And good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. You're listening to the program You and I on PSA, exclusively on the Street 91.9 FM, hosted by the Public Services Association. And we are here Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And of course, with me today is comrade, I'll go in with ladies first, comrade, okay? Sister Dawn Garcia.
Good morning to all.
And our comrade, second vice president, Mr. Ian Murray.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago.
And of course, ladies and gentlemen, Trinidad and Tobago, this is a program that is aimed at highlighting the weaknesses that seem to be permeating the public service to the extent that it is destroying the organizational efficiency and affecting public officers in such a way that the ordinary citizen is not able to get service in a manner that was expected when the public service was created. It has gotten so bad that public officers and ordinary civil servants, their morale has dropped so low that there is this general cry that the public service is not operating as effectively as it is expected, and therefore there is need to change it and come up with something different. But we are clear, that is the PSA, is clear that the problem lies not with the ordinary work employee of the state, but with the managers, the management, and the employer. We are of the view that the systems that have been put in place have been disregarded and are being disregarded to the extent that these various sub-organizations are running their various ministries, departments, divisions in a way as though they are not responsible or accountable to any of the policy makers that guide or I should say policies that guide the running of the public service. We have tried having discussions with them using the grievance procedure, but we have also come to realize that too is being disregarded. So the CPO doesn't answer you when you write and ask for meetings. The service commissions, and we're talking about the Statutory Authority Service Commission, we're talking about the Public Service Commission. They're sitting down there and they appear to be wallowing in a degree of impotence while the public service continues to degrade and not taking heed of the concerns of public officers and ordinary civil servants. And we have brought it to your attention with a view to shifting public opinion on these matters, because it's not only about increased pay, but it's about quality service delivery to you, the citizens of this country. And we have noticed that even at the level of the ombudsman, and I talk about the ombudsman because the ombudsman has a pivotal role in all of this, to ensure that the internal administrative systems run efficiently, and whenever weaknesses are identified, that the ombudsman use the office, which is appointed by the president, use the office and bring it to the attention of these management persons with a view to getting them back on track. But even the ombudsman is falling asleep. We have a 71-year-old appointee there, and she is giving no end of challenge to the managers below her. You have officers with pristine service 30-something years of pristine service, coming from the Prime Minister's office, getting appointed to the Ombudsman office, and then all of a sudden, her performance is questionable. Something is wrong with the appointee. And the PSA is saying, let us relook these persons because they have been placed there. But it appears that she has overstayed her time. We are saying, replace them, get them up, energize them, and get the public service energized to get its work done so that the population can be proud that Trinidad and Tobago has a well-oiled machinery. Today we want to focus on the homes, the children's homes, and they fall under the Statutory Authority Service Commission. And I want to ask Sister Dawn to open to bring to your attention the telephone lines so that you can call in and give your contribution.
Listeners, please remember this is an interactive program and your calls will be welcome later in the program so that you can give your contributions. And the numbers are 622-9154, 622-3303, 631-0219, and for our Tobago listeners, 639-0791. And those numbers again, 622-9154, 622-3303, 631-0219, and 639-0791. Your calls are welcome.
Beautiful. I know for a fact that there are at least 5 homes, and you can correct me. There is a
St. Dominic's Children's Home in Belmont, St. Jude's Home for Girls also in Belmont, St. Michael's School for Boys in Diego Martin, and St. Mary's Children's Home in Tagarigua. 2 of those homes are led by the Anglican Church and 2 by the Catholic Church.
Excellent. So the church is involved. And if I understand it correctly, the church has responsibility for the physical assets. That is the property that the homes exist on, and the state provides the funding to make the whole thing work.
But Comrade Joe, feel interestingly enough, the Concordat would have dictated that the government would contribute 2/3 of the total operational cost of these homes and the churches 1/3. However, that has not been happening. And what we see is that government subvention totally fund these homes, and as such, we expect accountability, transparency in its operations. And this has not been happening at all. So also, the government is responsible for all repairs and refurbishment. But for example, at the St. Dominic's Children's Home, a lot of money would have been injected into that home for repairs to buildings. But these buildings that would have been funded by the government are used for other purposes.
That's the St. Dominic's Home right around in Belmont there.
That's right.
Yes.
So they would have requested funding from government, and repairs would have been done to many buildings, and the St. Dominic's Home is sitting on acres of land. The numbers of residents have dwindled to the extent that there are only 35 children.
What is the capacity?
Over 100 plus children.
And we only have
35 children altogether, and only 24 are at Belmont, and the rest are at Sunny Hill. However, the subvention has increased significantly. Less children and more taxpayers' dollars going to these homes.
What are they doing with the money? What are they doing with the money that the government provides to run these homes to take care of over 100 children? When the numbers of children in the homes is diminishing, and the funding continues to rise. I understand as well that at Tacarigua Home, we are having some challenges because where safety and health is concerned, it appears to be a runaway horse.
Comrade, that's another story altogether, because our legislators got together and passed some legislation regarding the children, right? Bringing on board the Children's Authority, as well as a number of laws protecting children. No consultation with all the stakeholders. The unions were not involved, the CPO was not involved, and some of these laws actually contradict the terms and conditions of the employees working there, right? And that's the genesis of a lot of the issues we're having now. What we have now is children being aware of their rights, and to a point where nobody can actually touch the children, at least not the workers that are there now. And what you have is the staff are actually being abused.
I understand
by these children.
At some time ago, a child hit one of these
yes, we had a
caregivers.
Very bad incident with a juvenile home supervisor, where a mentally unstable child would have taken up a bottle and burst the head of a juvenile home supervisor, right? She was in and out of consciousness, had to be rushed to the hospital. She's traumatized up to now. The child is still at the home.
And this is part of the problem, because we are seeing where those managers, they seem not to understand that they have a responsibility not only to ensure that the children's welfare is prioritized, but the welfare of the workers, the employees there, is also their responsibility.
These children has gotten really out of hand. They're spitting on workers, coughing workers, kicking workers, pelting stone at workers. And the workers' hands are tied, basically.
The PSA is saying, we will not stand by and see public servants be treated in a manner like that when there are other managers who have a responsibility to ensure that the safety and the health of the workers is not compromised in any way.
I'll tell you something, comrade. Since that incident, there are a number of juvenile home supervisors who are basically fearful of the same thing happening to them. So they would have written to both management and the chief inspector, the OSH authority, and they would have exercised their right to refuse to work under Section 15 of the OSH Act.
Yes.
But a strange thing happened. When you make that report, the chief inspector, within 24 hours, the act says, supposed to dispatch inspectors to the premises where the report was made and do an investigation.
But there was supposed to be a safety and health committee established in accordance with the said act,
right,
where there are more than 25 workers in the establishment.
They were supposed to...
So there wasn't a health and safety committee?
They were supposed to come to the organization and do an investigation and provide a report going forward, right? What happened is that the inspectors, I understand, came to the home, investigated the matter to the point where they met only with the management. The management then assured these inspectors that there was a health and safety committee established at the organization. So they say, well, no, then the proper procedure was not followed. You should go to the health and safety committee first before you come to us.
Right.
And they left and went. But little did they know that that was not the truth. There was no health and safety committee established at the time of the incident and up to the time when they visited. Right? So here we have management misleading
The authority.
The authority that's supposed to investigate issues of that nature.
And that's it.
And these are the people running these homes.
And that shows you that these people, all they really care about is trying to placate the interests of the selected few, not even at the expense of compliance with the law. But I want to go back to St. Dominic's home for a little while, because that home seems to have some kind of what I will call autonomy that appears to be shocking. The Statutory Authority Service Commission would have appointed managers, because I understand that the manager would have gone off on a
indefinite sabbatical. Indefinite sabbatical. Right, and she will be touring Europe and countries of that nature. And interestingly enough, the appointments were made by the statutory authorities, and the board of management of St. Dominic's Home have barred those persons who were legitimately appointed by the Service Commission to act. They are preventing them from functioning. They have locked them out.
They told them that they cannot do their jobs.
That's correct.
Under the authority which was appointed by the
legitimate authority, that is. Right? And they would have a particular nun would have appointed herself as manager. Again, there's no accountability.
And you know why these things are allowed to take place? Because there is no accountability. Nobody is held accountable for these kinds of breaches in procedures.
What you're telling me, comrade, is that these people are using the government subvention to hire contract workers without the proper procedure being followed for the hiring of contract workers in the public service.
They are operating on a frolic of their own in those places.
Yeah, but that is correct. What they do is that they refuse to request replacements for persons for vacancies that exist, and instead they would appoint persons that they find, we don't know where they are, what is the selection process, but they would find persons and they would appoint them in contract position, and I'm using that term very loosely because in the government service there are clear guidelines on contract employment, and it must be approved by the CPO and the line ministry. Of course, the procedure must be followed. So therefore, there are persons who are employed illegally at these homes and being paid directly out of government subvention. This cannot be allowed to happen anymore, because there are persons who are suitably qualified who have been on a waiting list for a number of years seeking employment, and instead of giving those persons who would have attempted to go through the correct procedure to get employment.
That is to apply through the
Statutory Authority Service Commission.
Yes.
The church, however, would get their persons through the back door. And we have no objections if the church wants to hire their people, but they should not be paid out of government subvention. And interestingly enough, there was an internal audit, because there's a line ministry.
Yes.
So there was an audit that was done on the St. Dominic's Children's Home. Numerous discrepancies was discovered. However, that report is being suppressed because I don't know, somebody probably is afraid to offend the church.
We want the results of the audit. Make it public.
Tell me something, sister. Text coming in here, flying on my phone, telling me that the subventions are used for private catering as well.
And that is correct. What has happened is the self-appointed manager at the St. Dominic's Children's Home has taken away the authority of the catering officers who are responsible for coming up with the menus and ordering of foodstuff, etc. for the home, and she has taken it upon herself to do all purchasing, and the children are being fed a minimal menu. And we want to know about, a balanced menu. The government is funding a balanced menu. However, that is not happening. She is taking the funds to do as she pleases with. So we don't know what criteria is used when she hires a company to provide services or so. There's no procurement process in place, and no one knows what is happening. And interestingly, she mixes in donations, because we know our citizenry, we like to donate to these homes.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, the children do not benefit from these donations that good, kind-hearted citizens give, because they mix in the donations on the pretext that government subvention would have bought it. But instead, the government subvention would have been used for things like, and something that is very shocking. We have the financial regulations.
Yes.
Right? And the financial regulations give us clear guidelines on what should happen. But do you know that the substantive holder of the manager's office was able to get a debit card on the government subvention account?
A debit card?
A debit card. And this card is used to purchase just about anything. It is used to go to various restaurants to have dinner, to entertain, to purchase, as I said, anything. Also for travel and so forth.
I remember something like that took place in another organization with another how you would call it, principal, and that was a nasty scandal.
And this catering story apparently is going on at the St. Mary's as well, right? And in instances where the workers have to work the night shift, that graveyard shift and so on, and they're supposed to be in receipt of a meal allowance or a meal, I'm understanding that it's bread and butter that's available to them.
But comrade, well, that is good, because the children who are wards of the state, they at the homes, they are not even provided with milk, because again the subvention is not used to purchase the necessary foodstuff. Somebody decided to replace milk with grapefruit juice.
I'm hearing people buying paintings.
I tell you, these people have gone off on a frolic of their own, and there is no accountability for the monies that are expended by the state, whether it is the permanent secretary or the particular minister, whoever it is. Get your act together and hold these people accountable.
We need a serious audit. We understand that people, there's nepotism as well with this contract employment thing, people hiring people as consultants who is their family and thing. That's what's going on in these homes.
You recall
with government subvention.
You recall a position on the establishment, I believe it is Cook 1, where the incumbent was suspended, and they suspended that individual for over a year, and on some frivolous charge, on some frivolous allegation. And what they did, they brought in a contract. In fact, they didn't bring in a contract employee. They started purchasing food.
Yes.
So it appears that it is a strategy being employed to get rid of the public officers, the public servants who are supposed to perform those functions, and bring in their own people. It is a corruption. It is a corruption, and one that needs to be exposed in order for us to get back to the standards that we expect, that the citizens of this country expect. Somebody was saying that a statement was uttered saying that public officers are what?
Yes, a particular manager expressed the view out in the open that public officers are uneducated, unintelligent, they are untrainable, and she has no need for them. And therefore she made a concerted effort to replace all of them. And further, I just wanted to remind you, comrade, that you were talking about what the government subvention is used for. The government subvention is used for everything else but what it is supposed to be used for. For example, employees are entitled to certain things. For example, they are entitled to uniform allowance, which must be paid before the 30th of March.
Natural
To
benefits.
date, the uniform allowance has not been paid. They have not been provided with uniform
For what period?
for the current year.
Right.
However, the self-appointed manager claims that there is no funding, but they can travel to France, they can fund, the nuns can cook for, they use the government subvention to fund that. And of course, again, the citizenry will support that project. And when they realize funds from the nuns can cook using government subvention, and they claim it is to take the children on trips, but they carry a minimum number of children and
Tokens.
a large number of nuns, right, to go to all over the world, places that some of us probably would never see, like Africa and France and all that, right? But it is not about the children. It is about taking government subvention and doing with it what they please, and no one at all would question it.
I am hearing, and I hope the government listens so they could launch some type of investigation into what is taking place, because I am hearing that they have a particular manager who has hired her husband to teach art.
The numbers to call:
622-9154, 622-3303, 631-0219, and in Tobago 639-0791.
we are putting up a resistance.
Sometimes the pressure make me feel like water. When every sign says no way out, breaking my back to make an overtime dollar. God just goes from man to mouth. Still I'm holding up a resistance. I'm gonna work it out. No, I'm holding up a resistance. I've got to work it out. No, I'm holding up resistance. I'm gonna work it out. No, I'm holding up resistance. I'm gonna work it out. No. I never can understand it, the way the system goes. I don't know how they do it. It's only one way that things flow. Cause every time I lift my head above water and try to save myself from drown, it's an overnight scheme.
You can call in, the lines are open, and we are clear that this public service and the quality of service to be given to the citizenry of this country by our public servants and our various institutions that's supposed to run this place, they have to get their act together. I know that the statutory authorities, that they have to energize themselves, use the law and the power that they have in the law, and cause these managers and heads of departments to start respecting the regulations, because it makes no sense for you to appoint a public servant to a position and then the board of the church says we will not recognize that position, and then they put in their own people. It is wrong, and we are saying use your authority, get off your chairs and exercise your authority.
Folks, it's your turn to call. We are asking all our civil servants and that out there that having challenges at these homes, call in and let's hear what's taking place. The numbers are again 622-9154, 622-3303, 631-0219, and 639-0791. We have a caller on the line.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning and welcome.
Yeah, I've been attention to the program. I am not employed right now, but I'm an interested citizen here in Tobago.
Yes.
And what I hear is that there's a lot of square pegs in wrong ways. because you're not seeing professionalism being played off in terms of, allocation of funds and where it is supposed to be distributed, and no form of redress, neither any form of
accountability. Yes.
And to me, I don't know what is the correct way to use to describe that, if it is happening at a government level. Their government, are paying taxpayers money to have these type of things being done to the children of our nation. And it is clearly being dislocated. Or, what's the other word that I use?
Misappropriated.
Yeah. So somebody supposed in authority supposed to take the bull by the horn and break the horn.
That's correct. That's correct.
That's my contribution.
Yes, well done, and we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Because this is a country where systems, standards operated at a level where there was peace, harmony, and good governance. And as time went by, it began to be corrupted. We are seeing where ordinary public servants, after serving years within the public service, getting their retirement benefits, and the controller of accounts taking forever to pay these people their pensions. We are very concerned, and this cannot continue. It has a very demoralizing effect on those who are impacted on it, and it causes people to wonder whether or not it was worth investing all this amount of loyalty towards the state.
The numbers again, folks, to call in is 622-9154, 622-3303, 631-0219, and 639-0791. This is You and I on PSA, and we are on the street 91.9 FM.
Yeah, and we have another caller. Caller, good morning. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Right, we'll appreciate it if you lower down your volume, please. It's causing a lot of feedback here.
I'm an executive officer and also as a citizen, and it's frightening and it's really scary to hear things that are happening at our home city. The very children that we protect, they're also being pushed up and they're also being mistreated. And really hope that the government is hearing and paying close attention what they mean addressing some of these issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because whether we like it or not, it has to change for the better. We have sat in our chairs and we have tried to reason with them via letters, requests for meetings. When we sit in those meetings, they give us a lot of platitudes because somehow or the other, they feel that when we sit with the PSA, we can talk and we can talk their trousers off. And then they go back to their evil ways.
But Comrade Jofield, I wonder, is it because two of the main churches in our country is involved why there's this hands-off approach and no demand for accountability and transparency?
Well, I would hope not, because they are standard setters. I know that the Anglican and the Catholic Church are standard setters in this country. Right? So we will expect no less from them where these practices are concerned. And if it is that they have a difficulty and they are having challenges with how the managers are running how the service commission are choosing their persons to be employed, remember the Concordat sets out the lines that we both need to be guided by and to operate from. You do your part and the state, the government, the employer, i.e. the CPO and the Statutory Authority Service Commission will do their part and let us coexist. Do not trample or trespass into our area of which is employment. We will not stand for it. Something is wrong here. We have another caller. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and how are you today?
I'm all right. Thank you very much.
I've got a simple thing to say is that the government of Trinidad and Tobago really haven't got it all tied up, you know. They're just allowing the managers of the home to really exploit the workers, and the system and the STSC is in cahoots with them. That's all I've got to say. It's really, really annoying and very disrespectful and dishonest of these managers, and they're traded through the staff, and the staff has given all to the children over the years. They've given their whole lives to the children, and it's not about that. It's about principles. It's about basic principles of humanity, and that's all we could need in Trinidad and Tobago. That's all we got. And in the PS, they really have to fight the cause. And the abuse of the staff is unbearable. They failed to put the OSH committee in place. They have no plans. They're just planning the government money and all that sort of thing. It's really, really sad. It's really sad. Sad in Trinidad and Tobago. It's really sad. That's all I've got to say for now. Bye.
Yes, thanks, caller. And I could point to a particular situation where the same job, juvenile home supervisor, which is a public service job, they're actually hiring contract workers and to do the exact same job and calling them caregivers. You understand that interviews are taking place as recent as yesterday for caregivers, and some of these caregivers, I know of one particular person. I've been working with the home for 19 years. And Joe, his salary is just about $2,400 a
These
month.
people, and I want to jump right there.
Boy.
It's not about the money alone, and it's not about the remuneration, you know. It's about that commitment to the welfare of these charges of the state, because these public servants give of their time with a degree of care that makes you want to know, wait, now those are my children. They take that degree, that amount.
They especially at the residential homes, these juvenile home supervisors are like surrogate mothers.
Yes.
One of the things that happening, Joe, though, is that they have no control of the type of children that come to the home. Right now, these residential homes basically take over from what we used to call an orphanage a long time, right, where you have parentless children and so on. But what has happened lately is that for some reason children with
mental
challenges are being sent into the system, no history. So the juvenile home supervisors, unsuspecting, they don't know they're dealing with someone with a mental challenge, and they are these type of people are very unpredictable, right? You can't have that going on.
Yeah.
And we realize now, as the professionals would have told us, is that depression is increasing greatly, especially in young people in our country. And as such, the supervisors, the juvenile home supervisors, would not have been trained to really treat with this. And the managers are not putting things in place, you know, to deal with these things. And as such, for example, at St. Mary's, where a child is allowed to abuse juvenile home supervisor and the child is still there, there must be something in place. But in Trinidad, we really don't have mental health facilities that cater specifically to children. And recognizing that this is a serious issue, that some focus should be placed on that.
Then we should have psychiatric nurses working alongside the juvenile home supervisors.
And that,
you know, and strange again, children are displaying behaviors that would not have been displayed previously. For example, at one of the homes, there's a particular department where all the girls are engaging in lesbian activities. Now, that is a stressful situation, and I know we will say that they are free to choose and maybe they're exploring their sexuality, but we don't know if it is as a result of abuse. We don't know what it is. But how do you treat with such situations? I'm not passing judgment on sexuality this way or that way.
Yes.
But children, I believe, should not be allowed to practice because these are minors.
We have a call on the line. Caller.
Hi, good morning.
And welcome.
Watson Juke trying a new strategy now?
And we are saying that in order for us to fix this public service, we need to expose the weaknesses with a view to having those policymakers and managers change it for the better and for the benefit of the members. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, I'm asking a question. This is one of the government that implement contracts in the country.
Well,
Yeah, but
it's something that has gone way out of control, and it's worthy of explanation.
That's why I asked that
Yeah,
question.
it's worthy of it's worthy of an explanation.
Because those OJTs, they're supposed to have job training, which Mr. Manning did implement job training, because you go in certain place where the OJTs is, and they don't know how to speak to you, and they don't know how to address a situation that to be correct. Because just recently I went in this place where they giving out the grants and things. They called me in. And this young lady, she was so irrational that she make tears come out my eyes, and which I have 61 years. So most of those places where they have like government work, they're supposed to have job training for them, train them how to speak to people and
Well
how to
said.
carry on about in their job.
All right.
Because when you go there, they can't talk to you in a proper manner, you know. And they one thing Mr. Manning they do, he do job training. You must have job training.
Oh, okay. Thank you, ma'am. And it's a very good point. And the public service and the public servants get blamed, right? When the OJTs and these contract people that they bring in are not actually civil servants or public servants, but the whole organization gets the blame, right? And that is what happens when we substitute civil service jobs for contract work and OJT and all these things. That ought not to be happening.
But comrade, if these, and what we need to be clear about is, if these OJTs and contract workers were subjected to or was guided by the Service Commission regulations as it relates to how you need to interact with members of the public, they will not violate it, because they will find themselves under charges of misconduct, because the regulations is clear as to how you interact with members of the public, as well as internal publics, that is other public officers in the course of performing your duties. The thing has gone down a very steep slope, and we need to pull it back. We need to stop it. We need either to slow it down or reverse it, because the public service is the machinery that gets all the services that the citizenry are able to access in a manner where there is dignity, and which perpetuates a high standard of living and a quality of life that anybody can envy.
622-9154. This is your chance to call in and add your 2 cents to the issue. 622-3303, 631-0219, and 639-0791.
Let us, for once, get the service commissions to start working. Let us, for once, get the CPO properly staffed and trained and energized for them to be able to do their work and have public officers perform their functions in a manner that will bring back or increase or improve the standard of performance that the citizenry has been accustomed to.
Let this SASC and the Public Service Commission assert their authority to ensure that there is fairness in employment practices and not simply sit back and allow managers and heads of department to manipulate the system and do as they please. The system must be fair to all. Assert your authority, service commissions.
We are saying we are putting up a resistance.
Goes from man to mouth, still I putting up a resistance. I'm gonna work it out. No, I'm putting up a resistance.
So we are saying, Trinidad and Tobago, members of the Public Services Association, we appreciate your attention. We appreciate your contributions. No matter how subjective it might be, but it is all in the interest of making a better public service and a better Trinidad and Tobago. The PSA is going to continue to do its part, and we will see you back here tomorrow on 91.9 FM.
Good day, folks. Have a blessed evening.
Good day, folks, and we trust you would have enjoyed the program.
It's you and I on PSA. Good morning.